supposed to tell this committee speaker, and I want you to succeed. I want you to be the best speaker in the country, not in Kitui. What you should be telling us is that going forward, you give an undertaking that you're going to implement affirmative action to try and bring up the number of non-cambers in the assembly. These other stories you are telling us, you are evading. Because you see, the thing about this committee is that we're very straightforward people. We understand the circumstances in which you're operating. We understand the psyche of the people you serve. These members of the assembly, we know the pressure that is on them to demonstrate that Kitui ni our Kamba. We know that. We have met all these county assemblies here. They have the same problem. In fact, it's only the city of Nairobi, I think, Chair, which is doing a bit better because this city belongs to all of us. This city belongs to all of us. So there are a few counties. If you go to Western Kenya, I give this example all the time. If you come from Kakamega and you apply for a job in Bungoma, you are told to go back to your county. And we are all lawyers. So we have we have an appreciation of the problem on the ground. But what you need to do, Speaker, don't be defensive and give stories, tell us that the people from Taraka don't apply and yet he's there, he has confirmed they apply. Give us an assurance that we are going to now. In fact, what you should say is that now that Kambas have gotten to 95%, any further recruitment is not available for Kambas. That's what you should be saying. It will put you in a lot of political hot water, but you will say Sifuna is the one who said you. I'll be there. I'll be there to defend you because this is the law. So I really don't know, Chair, what effect that or impact that proposed legislation is going to have. But try it. But I don't see you succeeding a lot. If somebody can violate the constitution of a country, what about a piece of legislation from Kitui County Assembly? I don't know if it will succeed.
Okay, there are different ways of reporting on this matter. Under the NCIC Act, there is a report. Because, Chair, what we are trying to establish, we have the clerk here, we have the speaker here, we have the County Assembly Service Board here. They are the ones who ensure that you have the capacity, financial, human resource, scheduling of time to be able to do your work effectively. If you noticed, we allowed our clerks to introduce themselves, and you have seen that this committee is supported by a very strong team of clerks. This committee has almost 20 staff that have just been assigned to it. So I thought that before we look at the details of the pennies and cents, we find out the general environment. Because what we are doing now, ideally should have been the speaker and clerk as we proceed.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, is to say that I thought the question to the chair of PAC was rather direct and a simple question. Yes, there is an admission on his part that they have received the reports. The reports have been tabled and submitted to the committee since last year, but they have not had opportunity to look at the reports. Maybe what this committee wanted to find out is what is the reason behind you not looking at those reports? What challenges do you have? Is it a capacity issue? Is it facilitation that you need that you don't get from the speaker and the clerk? In other words, in very simple language, why have you not looked at the reports? I thought that's what the committee wanted to find out. And by the way, this is not even for the benefit of this committee. This is for your benefit. Because as you've heard the chair ask the clerk about the KPI, I believe that also goes to the committee. The committee has got their own set targets, the things that they want to achieve within clearly defined timelines. So if you have not considered any reports from the executive, from the assembly, what is the problem? What can this committee do to help you perhaps do your work? Lastly, from where I sit, I believe that if the challenge then was capacity, and I'm not saying it is capacity, I'm very sure if you approached this office in Machakos, they would come in and help you, because their issues are not necessarily to just find mistakes, is to help you and this committee here to help you build capacity to move forward. So what is the challenge? Why have you not looked at these things? So that was the question. Then, Chair, if you allow me, and I don't know if you will, I wanted to make my opening remarks because I have a call of duty, which is 15 minutes late. You're done, Chair, if you will.
Yes, Senator Wambua, you may proceed.
Thank you, Chair. So, Chair, as the Assembly Park deals with that issue of what challenges they have had, Chair, I want to point out 2 or 3 things and then ask to leave. One is to say that I have had opportunity to look at the reports tabled with more than passing interest, because this is my county. I have an interest in the success of my assembly and my executive. In other words, I have an interest in the success of the county government of Kitui, and this is one arm of those governments. Chair, I want to go on record and say, from where I sit, and I am not an auditor, from where I sit, I can confidently say that this assembly is moving perhaps in the right direction from where I sit, and I'm not an auditor. I say that because of 2 things. One, I have looked at one of the biggest challenges that all arms of county governments have, the problem of pending bills. In fact, the executive of Kitui would not be getting this kind of comment from me, because the pending bills on that side run into hundreds of millions. I've seen that from the latest audited accounts, the pending bills now stand at around, let's say, 6 million or something. 6 million or something. That's a good thing for an assembly. And it's not to say that they should have pending bills. Try and clear those pending bills and reduce that to 0, because it is possible. Yeah, it is possible to do that. I'm happy with the cash and bank balances. There were issues in the previous report, but I see that has been resolved. The area, Chair, that I want this committee, the committee of the Senate, to engage the Assembly on is on the management of casuals. That is an area that we really have to tighten our operations and ensure that, Chair, when you talk about ethnic balance in Kitui, that becomes a bit tricky for us, because we are almost, not really 100%, but we are almost homogeneous. It's the thing that for them that they have to look at is regional balance in terms of engagement of staff, so that we don't have Mutambuki, the clerk who comes from Mwingi North, recruiting everybody from his village, and then the rest of the hundreds of villages in Kitui miss out. I will personally, Chair, as I conclude, I'll personally take a very keen interest, clerk and speaker, to find out, personally want to find out how many members of staff in the County Assembly of Kitui come from the Raka ward. Members of staff, not the elected MCA. Chair, I say that because we have a very unique situation in our county, where we have an entire ward that is inhabited by people of the Raka extraction. They have an entire sub-county. They are not accepted from his county because they don't belong to his county, the Rakanithi. They belong to Kitui County. But in a lot of cases, they are also marginalized from our county. So they are left to hang there in the middle, and they suffer a lot. So in my own oversight, activities which some people are not very happy with. I will
point
be
of observation as Honorable Obua presents his submission.
Observation or information?
Observation. It has just been observed, even from the team which is here, that we don't even a single staff from Laraka Ward, as Honorable Obua is trying to put
it. Okay. Senator Obua, could you proceed without
make reference to that.
Invoking ethnic passion?
So, Chair, we will be very keen. Honestly, we'll be very, very keen on that. The assembly, this is to the assembly. One of the reasons why you're here is not just to respond to audit queries, but also, most importantly, to even build capacity. And I'm happy that the park committee is here, the board is here. And you have the privilege, because it's a privilege, to then be in presence of very, very able and experienced senators on matters devolution. The senator seated to my immediate right is one of the most ranking members of the Senate, and she has handled park issues the longest. The chair has chaired these things, I think, more than twice. Of course, I wouldn't say so much about Sifuna, you know. So you people are before the right team to learn, open up your minds and learn. Park, if you have issues, say what those issues are so that you can be helped. This is the opportunity that you have. Chair, with those many remarks, if you allow me, I will exit and go and continue with some assignment that was given by Sifuna to make sure that we are on the right track. I thank you, Chair.
I'm a bit worried, Senator Wambua, because when I look at the panel before me.
So we lag behind by a full year, Mr. Chair. When the reports were committed, we were not facilitated to go out and interrogate these reports. So we not got permission and capacity built to interrogate the reports. And we're asking that, Chair, I know there are challenges that we have as county assemblies and counties on money. It could be issues of funds and funding. If the Senate can come in and see how we can facilitate the committee to do its work, the committee is up to its task.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have absolutely no doubt on your capacity, and we also do not exercise any supervisory role over your committees. We might supervise the expenditure of the assembly, but not necessarily the operations of your committee. The reason why we called you was for us to share experiences and for you to witness how the Senate processes mitigation, part of which includes delays in exchequer release. Now, County Assembly, if this report comes to you, you can take note of what we have said, but it does not stop you from asking what the 27 million was for. That is a primary oversight. So do not entertain any notion that if senators said that we agree with the written responses, if it comes to you, you can still ask questions. We have here, how many pages is Appendix 1? Probably 20 pages, isn't it? If not 40. The Senate sitting in Nairobi might not be able to see the mischief in these 30 pages, but the County Assembly sitting in Kitui would be in a better position to see that mischief. So I'm saying that despite our observation and whatever recommendation that shall be adopted by the House, nothing stops you as a County Assembly from still demanding the details of the 27. But at least the Senate feels satisfied that due to delays in exchequer release and due to the practice that has not been documented, these cut-off issues occur. And we believe that in future, the change of accounting basis is going to solve this problem. But I leave it to you to test with the details of that 27 million. And I think that should be part of a recommendation, that the propriety of that 27 million will leave it to the primary oversight institution. The next on cash and bank balances is a similar story.
Yes, Chairman.
Again, it's a cut-off issue.
Cut-off issue.
Same observation, same recommendation. But nothing stops the county assembly from looking at the details of the numbers that have been presented before us. Now, that was the reason why you had a qualified opinion. Let's see the emphasis of matter. You have an issue on pending bills. Auditor General.
Pending bills. Annex 1 to the financial statements on budget.
I thought every year the ceiling normally increases to county assemblies. The latest, how much increment did you get? Because I normally see county assemblies, they get maybe additional in terms 50 million, 100 million. So in this, the latest, let's use the previous year because I think the DORA is still on its lifeline in the parliament. In 2022, 2023, compared to 2021, 2022, how long have you been a clerk?
For the last 10 years.
For the last 10 years?
Yes.
Okay. So now, then you are a great survivor because it's rare to have a clerk who survives that long. You must know the secrets of the MCS, how to survive with them. Anyway, you must be doing a good job. Mine is just from 2021, 2022, 2022, 2023. In the CRA, it's normally increases. Either they add you 50 million or 100 million. In those 2 years, 2021, 2022, 2022, 2023, was there an increment?
Honorable Chair, there was, but it was very, very, very minimal.
Against how much?
Allow me to say, for the last 10 years, we started with 0.8 billion, that's 800 million. We are now at 900 point something small over there. So, but the last, precisely the one that you're asking,
yes,
was only 76,000 shillings.
Okay. But I normally see the county assemblies get an increment. Yeah. But anyway, maybe with financial autonomy, things might change.
Thank you.
No, I think they are okay. If they're okay, it is not our business to stimulate them for more. And if you're at 7.6, that's one of the lowest ratios we have seen. Because there are some counties that have gone as high as 13%. And we are concerned that money that should be going towards development is going to legislation. So I think you guys are fine where you are. We then got, and there is the law as it ought to be. The Auditor General deals with the law as it is. So the PFM, the County Governments Act, and the NCIC Act has certain requirements. Until and unless Senator Wambua moves an amendment, then we shall still be asking this question, because it is the law as it is. What progressive measures are you taking to ensure that this dominance is not as bad as we can see here? Because 74 out of 78 employees were from one dominant ethnic community in the county, meaning that you can even hold meetings in a language that is not an official language in the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, as the chair of the County Assembly Service Board, I think this comes to you, issues of HR. Is there any policy that you have crafted towards realization of that ratio as required by law?
Thank you, Chair, for allowing me to respond to this matter. And I agree with you that it is not good when 95% of members of service are from the same community. But I can tell you that as an Assembly Service Board, we have tried our best. I will admit that we have not yet drafted a policy, but I think we are now properly guided. The challenge we have, Chair and members, is that most of these positions, some of the employees were inherited. Yeah, but the others which we want to employ, we find out that maybe the qualifications, and some people maybe from the other ethnic groups are not meeting some of the qualifications. And also, you also find out that when we advertise, perhaps due to some challenges, they don't apply, but maybe progressively. Because since when I became the speaker, we have not hired even one person. Maybe progressively, even before we start the process of hiring other staff, we'll be able to take care of these things. Currently, we have around 85 members of service. Against, I think, we are our maximum is 100 with the staff we can hire. Yeah, and currently we have around 85. Progressively, Chair, we will try our best so that we adhere to the law. I know a third of 100 is almost 34, 33 point something, so it's around 34 and above. We can only say that we will do our best. Perhaps we can start with the coming up with a policy on how we can make this happen.
That's exactly what you must do, Senator Sifuna.
Chair, is a very interesting response, and we've heard this before from other counties, that somehow when advertisements are put out, it's only the local community that applies. One of these fine days, Chair, I want us to put this to the test. I just do not believe that you can have an advertisement like this one from 2022, your Annexure 4, has 15 positions, including security wardens. I'm not saying that this is a job reserved for lawyers, but surely, are there no lawyers in Kitui who can apply for security warden jobs? What are the qualifications for these things, Chair? I am very sure if we were to bring those boxes of those applications, and the assembly, that is where you should help us. But I doubt you can help us because you are part of the problem here. How is it possible that you can tell the Senate that these other people don't apply for jobs? Here in Nairobi, everybody applies for jobs. We see applications from all tribes. How is it possible that in some of these counties, or is it a known fact? You know, there could also be a prevailing environment where people just know even if you applied and your name is Sifuna or Watenya, you have no chance. Speaker. Huh?
Chair, before the speaker would
You're out of order. You're out of order.
Yeah, I will give you an opportunity, but later.
Chair, I don't want to start with the Kitui because they are my friends. But one of these assemblies and one of these executive should be told to bring boxes of those applications here. If they claim that the local non-dominant community never applies, we need to understand the root cause of the problem. Maybe it is an unknown rule in these counties that this county belongs to Bukusus. This one belongs to Kambas. Even if you apply, you're wasting your time. Yeah? So, Chair, I don't believe this response that the other communities don't apply.
Senator Sharake?
Maybe. But I think what you should be telling us, whenever you advertise these positions, do you use maybe circulation of nationwide, like national newspapers, number one? Number two, do you have a website where a Kenyan in Homa Bay or in Moyale can access? And number three, why is it that even my sister is there? Why don't you hire her and she's a Kalenjin so that you balance? I'm not canvassing for her, I'm just thinking, I'm just, through you the chair, I'm just using hypothetical reasoning.
She apply?
No, she she works in other places in a senior position. But just I'm imagining, even if even if somebody who's married there from Sifuna's place in Bungoma, for example, you can still use strategy. So what are you doing? Are you using national circulation or website that is of do you have a website that you update? If we go, for example, Sifuna, I agree with the reasoning of Sifuna that you bring application, but can we go now on website of Kitui County Assembly and see updated on your portal of this some of the jobs that you did hire recently? You know, that's another factor. And finally, 30%. That is what NCAC Act says. Or you people are hiring campers from Machakos and Makueni and saying it is forming 30%. The law says from not dominant ethnic community. Because I know your perception is that since you hire a camper from Machakos or from Nairobi, Mbakazi South, or from Makueni, you think you have hired or somebody from. But the question he says against dominant community, and you are a lawyer. What have you done to ensure that there should be there should be a report? Not only a policy, there are things you can do it now, like ensuring that it's put on the national circulation, is put on is put on finally chair is put on maybe a radio of Kiswahili, like the radios that we have. There are a number of, I know you are normally in these local campus radio stations, but the ones that are Kiswahili, these ones, what have you done? Tell us something that we can take home. Have you put in maybe Radio Taifa or something advert? Have you put in website, something like that, or even your social media pages, something like that? Thank you, Chair.
Just take note of the questions. I can respond to everything.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Chair. As I said, my name is Godfrey Mudengi, and I come from, I'm elected from Tharaka, which is a different community from the larger Kamba community in Kitui. And some of these issues, I can share them out of experience. But it's not even the Kamba from Machakos and all that. Since inception of devolution, my community, which is the Raka community, in the entire assembly for those years, has no any person who has been employed from that. And my people always apply whenever they advertise. But you realize that when they inherited people from the county councils, those people got into the offices that very time. You realize that many of the people who are employed come from those regions where people in power are. And therefore, it is quite disheartening that ward has no single person who has been employed out of 85. There's no any Tharaka person from Tharaka ward who has been employed. Not even in the county assembly, even in the county executive. It's only that when we have a friendly governor who says all the advertisements have been done, and then people have been employed, then he says out of affirmative action, I want someone from the Raka community, or maybe from the Swahili-speaking communities in Kitui. That's when at least we get an opportunity. Like last regime, we had no even a CEC or even a CEO in the government. But during the first regime, Malombe's regime, that's when, because he had a good heart for, and he could even consider some of the minority communities. That's when we get a chance. But when we have a governor who is not friendly, at the end of the day, we go without. But these are some issues we have talked about. And as an MCA, maybe I'm bringing a bill in the assembly to try to address some of these issues. And I've always also talked to the speaker about the same. Because he has gotten out of that message when they have already happened, and maybe going forward, maybe something should happen. That's what I want to confirm.
I like the last part of your submission, that you're preparing legislation.
Yeah.
Because this is entirely in your hands. Yeah. What we are asking this, so well done, and please pursue that. You need to come up with an affirmative action bill or a diversity bill that gives effect to the County Governments Act, Section 65, and gives effect to the National Cohesion and Integration Act, Section 7.2. And perhaps it will be the first time we are getting that kind of legislation. Yeah. So for those who asked if anything good can come out of Kitui, we hope that something good will come out of Kitui through that legislation. Yeah. Speaker, you still have a responsibility to do policy. The MCAs have got the responsibility of doing legislation. So you must tell us within what timelines are you coming up with a policy to give effect to this cited acts of parliament, and also respond to the other.
I want to start by appreciating the comments of the committee on this issue of ethnic balance and adhering to the law, that a third of employees in our assembly should be from other ethnic groups. Chair, perhaps I can point out that in Kitui County, the dominant community is Kamba. We have the Rakas, who are now the other ethnic groups. We have the Rakas, we have the Somali community, which is predominant, especially in the areas of Mwingi. We have some Swahilis. Yes, I agree with Senator Sharagai that we have other communities like the Luyas, the Luos, but especially in the towns, especially in the towns. And I want to commit that yes, indeed, we must, as legislators, because the county assembly is a law-making body, we must ensure that we comply with the national laws, because most of these laws are national laws, and as a county government, we have to comply with the national laws. I agree with your challenge of trying to come up with a policy. Maybe I can consult my team, but I think we can try our level best, so that at least in 12 months, 1 year, we can
No,
work.
that's too long. It cannot be 12 months. We will give you 1 quarter to at least have a draft policy.
Chair, because we are in a budget making process group, please make it 6 months, because we are now working on the main budget.
You don't need a consultant to do a policy.
We'll give it our best, Chair.
I have seen here you are hiring what? Legal principal, legal counsel? In 2022? You have those resources internally.
Chair, we are guided.
You have been walking around the Republic of Kenya, and I was actually amazed to see you here, because every time I saw you, Kalonzo Musyoka would be there. So I was wondering whether Kalonzo was coming to this meeting. So you are not a villager, my friend. You are not a villager. You have just said that you have campaigned everywhere, including in my county.
That is true, Chair. I came to your county.
Yes, so you don't need a consultant or an expert to tell you that Kitui must comply with the law, and
Yes.
that even if it does not reflect the face of Kenya in its entirety, but we must create opportunities for others. But as a policy is a statement of intent.
Yes.
It leads to progressive realization. The bill that he's talking about, which you must support him on, is the one that is more compulsory. But you know, a policy just tells us that it's something you have discussed, it's something you have canvassed in Senate, it's something that the law requires, and this is our thoughts on it. So I don't think you need more than 1 quarter on this, Mr. Speaker. We must give you that challenge because we believe that you are up to the task.
Chair, we accept the challenge, and we shall do our best in 3 months to make sure that at least we have a draft policy.
Yes.
Yes, Chair, we will do our best.
And remember, policy does not have to go to the assembly.
Yes.
I've seen problems where speakers are telling us that the policy is before the assembly. A policy is a management tool.
That is true,
unless it is so significant, like in the case of Parliament, a shift in education policy, that needs to come as a sessional paper.
Yes.
But if these kind of policies can be processed at the County Assembly Service Board level.
Yes. Chair, we accept the challenge. I can see Senator Sifuna's microphone is on. I don't know whether I should proceed.
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
You are not the speaker today.
Thank you. Sorry, Chair. On the other issue of Honorable Muthengi Dagara, I want to confirm that the reason why we tag along our Assembly Park Committee is because we like being transparent and want to involve them in everything that we do. And yes, I want to confirm before this committee that I will support him as he comes up with that legislation, because he's actually very passionate about that, because his community is affected. Chair, on the other issues which Senator Sheragai raised about whether we advertise these positions in national media, I confirm yes, because if you look at the annexure before you, Chair, that is a newspaper. Annexure 4. If you look at the annexure 4, that confirms that is actually, I think it's Star newspaper, if I'm not wrong. Not we use not Star only, as Chair. Yeah, actually. Yes, we use the Nation, we use Standard, we use Star, but the one which has been annexed is Star newspaper, and it is then all our advertisements are always in our website, County Assembly of Kitui website. We also post them in our social media pages. We mostly use Facebook. They're always there. And Chair, on the technical bit of our response, allow me to invite the clerk. Actually, he has an HR background. He can give also more highlight because I saw him carrying the long list of the applications. Perhaps we can allow him 2 minutes to also add to my response. Thank you, Chair.
Before or records management or human resource management, as we have said, we have high expectations for Kitui. It's an assembly where I've personally sat, I've been welcomed, and Clerk, I think you're the one who welcomed us when we came for Senate Mashinani. You facilitated this committee to hold its proceedings within the chamber. And so I'd like us to have a different type of conversation rather than the conversation that we have had today. So go back, the County Assembly Service Board, please. You have responsibilities on human resource management. That's why the Senate passed that law. And I think we will not be crucifying the clerk alone. So clerk, take comfort that if you're to crucify you, there will be one on the left and one on the right, and you hanging in the middle. Now, that that brings us to a close. In terms of closing remarks, Chair.
Indeed, it has been a great experience for us as a committee, and we assure you that you follow up on the matters that you've committed to this committee. We'll follow the matters that have been raised by you as a chairman. Also, we as a committee will look into the matters that have not been addressed, and next time we'll be coming here, Chair, we'll be having something to say on what you've told us to do.
Thank you, Chair. You have seen that it's not a very difficult exercise to do. It's not very difficult. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. I believe as the people's voices, people's representatives, if you have a clerk who understands the relevant laws well, the clerk should guide you. And your committee clerk has been there for long. So it's fairly easy to process these things. The position that you have seen us take is that if there was an irregular payment, it is an irregular payment, and someone must be held accountable, or someone must take responsibility for that. So I wish you well. Auditor General,
thank you.
Please prioritize Kitui. Patrick, you had said that they were not in the first round of trainees.